Hey, what's up? My name's Lindsay, and I thought I would do the AuthorTube Newbie Tag, even though I've been on here for a minute, but I wanted to do just like a full introduction. I am in a hotel room for work, and the radiator is kind of loud, so hopefully the audio is okay. But I figure we'll just dive right in. First question is, what's your book's pitch? If you have multiple works, choose your favorite. My easiest pitch that I know off the top of my head is for the first book in my interconnected dark fantasy series called Kingdom of Ash and Shadow. The pitch is definitely more of an elevator pitch, and it's that Kingdom of Ash and Shadow follows Kel and Rosalie as they're forcibly married to stop a war between their two kingdoms. Kel is a morally gray firebending king, and Rosalie is a sheltered princess who's had to keep her powers a secret her entire life. So it's really just setting up that it's fantasy, that there's elemental magic, who these characters are, and what's the inciting incident. If you were a book, how would you pitch yourself? That is something I don't know how to put into words. I like to describe myself as like a multi potentialite. I like a lot of different things. I like a lot of different creative things, but I do have in my bios of things sometimes I'll put like entrepreneur, writer, marketer, graphic designer. So I mean, I kind of do it all, and that's definitely evident in my books because I do literally all of my own everything. Obviously, I write them, I do the cover design, the formatting, writing the blurbs. I literally do all of the advertising, which is all done by me organically. I don't pay for anything. So, multi potentialite, creative entrepreneur would maybe be my pitch. What do you usually write is the third question. And I have been writing for a very long time. I actually wrote in like middle school and high school, and I published a few books in high school. And they were just kind of general, like YA fiction. One of them was a little bit more sci-fi, but then now as an adult, I'm typically writing fantasy and maybe like adding in a little bit of sci-fi elements, but definitely sticking in those genres as best I can. Four is what's something you will never write, and I will link the blog article to these questions below. It is by Sophia Pasternak, and she just wrote out all these questions, so I'm going through them. But four is what's something you will never write. I will probably never write. See, I don't want to say nonfiction because if I ever want to put out like a book about marketing or anything like that, that would be nonfiction. Maybe like historical fiction, like actually historically accurate fiction, because I like coming up with things. I don't want to study history. I did not do well in AP US history in high school, let me tell you. My motto for that class was a push me off a cliff. What's your goal for starting an AuthorTube channel? The goal is definitely to connect with other authors, but also to share just the knowledge that I have. I have a degree in marketing. I have minors in graphic design and creative writing. And while I know I'm not like an expert in anything, I think it's nice to be able to share what we know. So I really like sharing marketing tips. I like bringing transparency into the publishing industry by sharing my indie author income. I'm sharing my YouTube income when that's like as it's monetized. It's kind of monetized, and I ran into a road bump, so we'll see how that goes. But it was monetized, and I did my first month income report, and now I'm having issues with the Google thing. So we'll see how that goes. But just to share my knowledge and connect with you guys, I think it's really fun. Six is what made you want to start writing? I think I've always wanted to write. I've kind of just wanted to write as long as I knew that that was a possibility. But the thing that really kicked off me writing full-length novels was seventh grade when my best friend came up to me on the school bus and she was like, I have this idea for a prompt and we could both write like a short story and just see what happens, like how we come up with different stories. And I was like, that's really fun. So I wrote like a full length 45,000 word, so almost a full length novel. And I think she wrote like a short story, like she said we should. And I just kept going. And that became the novel Blue. It is not out anymore, but I did publish it in high school and then I took it down when I went to college and learned some things. So seven is what's your publishing path? I strictly so far have only self-published, and I don't really plan on traditional publishing. I think I would only really consider it if something came up that was like too good to turn down. I kind of see the way that traditional publishing is picking at these indie authors that are doing really well as like a sign that the indie authors could probably just do better on their own, unless they're offering like an amazing marketing package. But if you're doing well enough that a traditional publisher is picking you out and being like, yep, we want your book, you don't need this traditional publisher, is my opinion. So self-publishing. What content do I bring to the AuthorTube table? I kind of talked about that. A lot of marketing stuff, income transparency, tips and tricks. Anything that you guys really want to see, you can let me know. I'm an open book. What is your biggest writing struggle? I would say that I get too excited to push things out. And this has just been a theme in my entire life, is I just want to be done with the thing sometimes. And I get really excited when it's like almost done. But giving myself that extra time, take a step back and looking at it with like fresh eyes and really just doing my due diligence and going over something again to give it like that full polish and make it the best it could be. I struggle so much with the patience of giving myself time. What's your best writing skill? That's really hard because I feel like what I think is a skill, some other people might be like, no. I really like world building, and I like asking really, really tiny questions that make a big impact and saying like, oh, this verbiage is this way because of this thing that happens later, and like getting really into the details and into the weeds with the characters, with the world, with the setting, with everything. So I really like all the little details and Easter eggs that I leave in my books, and I hope my readers do too. Some of them are really subtle though, so it might just be stuff that I only know. I actually do have a document called Weirdly Specific Notes. So I've been on AuthorTube for a minute. It hasn't been quite even a full year, but I would consider that a little while. So the next question would be, if you've been on here for a while, what's your best AuthorTube tip? And I would say just be, well, A, if you want to start an AuthorTube, just do it. I'm recording this video because I have a couple of videos that I want to post, but I need something that I can just like quick edit and put out and be like really raw and organic, because I think I need to make some edits to those other two videos. But be yourself. Show up, make the video. If you haven't and you want to be on AuthorTube, just make the video. It can be messy like this. It can be sparsely edited. It's fine. People will support you no matter what. So, and people might hate you no matter what, but that's something you don't have to worry about because that's not a you thing. I think this community is really supportive. So people will support you no matter what, even if your video is messy, even if you're stumbling a lot, even if you don't know what you're doing, just post the video. Am I looking for new channels to follow? Writing buddies. I would love some writing buddies. I'm really sparse in, like, I am not consistent in my writing. Like, I don't write every day for like a certain amount of time. I kind of write when inspiration hits, so that kind of sucks. But if anyone wants to get together and like just talk about writing or talk about marketing or something like that, like, yes, let me know. We could do like a interview, just a chit chat. But yeah, I think that would be really fun. At some point, I do want to do some like set aside write time with people and do like a writing sprint session. I've never really been a writing sprinter. I did it when I did NaNoWriMo in 2016, and when I kind of did it again in like 2021-ish, something like that, I was like, oh, sprinting is different. I don't usually do this. I just get in the zone and write. But if anyone is like that and just wants to make sure we set aside time and write together, I'm down. What am I most excited about during this fresh new start on YouTube? I think it goes back to everything I just said, like with the community, with sharing what I know. Hopefully you guys can also just share what you guys know, like in the comments. If you see something that I'm doing and you're like, oh, I do something similar, but I do it this way, I would love to know that. Like, I think everybody should be sharing what they know because we are just each other's community. We are not each other's competition. We are colleagues as writers, and I hope we can be friends. So that was a super quick video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.